I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com.
Preface this by saying I always tell anyone I'm like hooking up with or dating or anything that I'm trans. Okay? Obviously, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I'm totally fucking fine with that. It's totally fine. Everybody has preferences. That point being, what the fuck am I supposed to do when somebody comes up to me at a bar? Like, I was out with my friends the other night at a bar, right? Having a good time, minding my own business.
Well, let's just stop it there. For one thing, those people that you were with at this bar, they're not your friends. If they were your friends, they would value your life. And if they valued your life, they would make sure, not only would they have you tell other people immediately when you meet them, they would probably tell them for you, like, excuse me, this is my friend. My friend is trans, but they're a good person, or whatever you want to go, whatever you want to say along with that. But when it comes to something as sensitive as this, you have to be upfront. A lot of men, regardless of how much you can, how good your costume is, you're a man. You have always been a man. You will always be a man. You can cut off your wiener and put it on a grill, like hibachi. Slice it up. Still a man. None of this cosplay, pretend woman, none of it actually serves any real purpose. You would never have children. You're not going to be in a relationship. There really is no future in any of it. Typically, they self-delete before the age of 34. My theory is they purposely try to scam and trick men into believing that they're women to get them in situations sexually, just to, and not even to extort them for money. They do it just to embarrass them later. I've seen trans people get on the internet and post just DMs, not anyone they ever met or even touched in person, but just the fact that a man who of certain status was fooled by them. They are so proud of themselves that they were able to trick a man. They don't want any money. They don't want anything. They just want to be able to fool you. Remember, these are people that have no future. They have no children. They won't be married. There is no nothing. So when they're talking and there's certain things they're saying, oh, when I'm dating, that means plural. That means you're not meeting anyone, stopping and getting into a relationship, which is the purpose. You're forever in a cycle because no one wants to stay with you. Even these situations where you're dating, if the guy is drunk enough, it doesn't matter. Afterwards, he's going to regret it. And likely, you will be a victim. There is no way around it. It's embarrassing as hell. Even if you're a drunk man and you walk up to a woman that looks like this, but your buddies and your friends know that's a man, they're going to make fun of you indefinitely. It's embarrassing. Some people take their sexuality to heart. That's why, to this day, and it will be forever into the future, calling someone gay will always be a really bad insult and funny. Especially, if the person is straight. If they're not gay, then it's hilarious. It will always be an insult. There will never be a time where that's going to be a compliment. People try to push it and they try to make it a compliment. It's not going to happen. The people that are with you in this bar are not your friends. This man is only approaching you because of what he doesn't know. You're basically gambling with your life every single night that you're putting on your costume and going out. I'll be honest, this looks like the woman that was on that movie with the cheerleader girls and they had the white school and the black school. She looks like that girl, but it's a dude. Do you know what type of surgeries it takes to get this type of appearance as a man? Not only do you have to take estrogen and all types of hormone drugs, which God knows what it does to your organs. She had to get her chin and her jaw shaved, her shoulder blades shaved. I'm only saying her because it appears that way, but this is a man still. His jaw shaved, his shoulders shaved, his peculiar muscles shaved, and he likely had to get implants, and he has to get all these procedures. And what is the goal? And even think about it, even if he chops it off, there's still not a vagina there. There's just a gaping hole. Do you know what they have to do to keep that hole open? Because naturally, your body, as a human, God gave us all nanotechnology to heal and self repair. Your body wants to close a wound. They have to use something called a dilator to keep it open. And I only know about that because I remember watching that abused boy. That mom was trying to pretend that he was a girl. And she said, if he doesn't put that dilator in at night, I'm going to go down there, choke him, and make him do it, and just to keep the gaping hole there. Not because it serves any kind of purpose. You've removed all your sexual organs. You feel nothing. So even if you're able to find some sick pervert that wants to insert something in there, it will do nothing for you. They're basically humping a wound on your body. What typically happens is they try to make a fake one, and what they do is they use your intestinal lining. However, whenever it does heal, a lot of times people pass away from sepsis because the fecal matter of the intestines eventually leaks into your bloodstream. It's disgusting. It sounds disgusting because it is disgusting. But they don't tell you that when they're reading these books to your autistic child and trying to convince them that this is the way. Your child is autistic. They have a learning disability where they grow mentally at a slower rate. So they're socially awkward. They're not like other kids. Other kids can pick up if there's something wrong with another kid. So they're awkward. And now what they do in these schools, teachers and kids who are also groomed to be predators, they convince these kids that, well, maybe you don't have a learning disability. Maybe you're just trans. Maybe you're just gay. And your kid who doesn't have a lot of friends because they're socially awkward, they're not, other kids kind of don't want to hang around them. Once they dress your boy up in a dress while he's at school and he comes out of the back room and they all just laugh and they all lie and clap and it makes them feel good. I'm like, wow, put on this, put on that. And they're kind of like affirming you, but what they're doing is they're manipulating you and you're thinking that they're your friends and they like you for that. It's like this whole mass psychosis to get men to do this to themselves. My theory is that we're at war, and we have been for about 30, 40 years now. But we're a big, strong country. How do you win a fight when you're a smaller person versus a bigger person? Well, you're not going to just be able to come at them head on. You're going to have to be clever. Wouldn't it be easier if you found a way to manipulate the soldiers on the opposite team that you're fighting against? Instead of you having to shoot it out with them, wouldn't it be better just if you could convince them to, I don't know, self-delete, kill themselves? Kind of help you with some of the heavy lifting. Then there really won't be there won't be anyone to fight in the first place. You got to look at what fourth generational warfare looks like. This is what it looks like. When you can convince a man that he should never have children, he should chop off his man parts, he could pretend to be a woman for nothing, just so you can gloat and feel proud about yourself that you were able to trick men into believing that you were a woman. And then one day you wake up, you realize that you have no future, you have no wife, you will never have children. That emptiness and loneliness feeling overtakes you, and then you, I don't know, OD on Tylenol. I mean, what do they do? Or, like I said, I've seen them purposely go out and they try to trick guys just because they're hoping somebody will do something to them, and then they can claim to be a victim, but they were already suicidal to begin with. It's a cycle. It's happening. I'll let this dude finish telling you some more of this crazy ass story.
Like a hot bitch, because what can I say? This guy comes up to me, super tall, like 6'8", literally like walks up to my table that I'm sitting at with my friends dancing, starts talking to me. First of all, hot, but like so drunk, only talking about himself. He's,
Again, you're inebriated. He's drunk. He doesn't know any better. You trick a drunk man who's bigger than you, and and if you were considering going home with him, and when he got there, he found out that you were a man, you might not make it out of that house. You will likely be on the news. It happens every single day. Your friends are not your friends if they are not telling you not to do this. No one in your life loves you if they're not begging you to stop doing this.
I'm a D1 basketball player. I can't do anything because I just tore my ACL. Da, 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 da. I'm like, cool, awesome, whatever. Is it like
He's a athlete. He might have a name. He potentially has a future. Do you know what the label of being gay does to a man who is up and coming or even working on a team? Other men don't want to, men, we don't really want to be around gay men. We don't. If we're in a locker room setting, if we're in a team setting, we see gay men as being feminine. I don't care how fucking buff you are. I don't care what you can lift. I don't care how tough you think you are. You're still gay. We have different interests. I'm looking at women. You're looking at men. We're not on the same page. It's just so it's not going to work. So that could destroy his prospects in the future. Again, the embarrassment alone can really create a lot of problems in a man's life. Even future relationships with women, they will bring that up and hold it against you because people like this who are going through this, they go through all the trouble to manipulate and trick men into thinking that they're women. They always brag about it. They always want to expose somebody or spill some tea. And it's not even with, like I said, it's not always with men that they even slept with or even you can't really sleep. I don't know how that works, but it's not like they did anything sexual. They just want to expose the fact that you spoke to them. I was looking at the T app. Somebody had sent me somebody I know, and it was basically that a trans girl who, trans dude or whatever, however that fucking works, a man pretending to be a woman who looks very convincing. And this person sent them a DM like, oh, hey, you know what you're doing this weekend? You should come out. Oh, look, this is your friend. Your friend likes trannies. Bro, there's no weird trans flag on your bio. There's nothing on there that says you're a man. You don't even look like a man. You spent, and a lot of these surgeries are comped. If you're in prison in California, they'll give you these surgeries, they'll give you the pills, all for free. They're literally doing the same thing they did under the Nazi regime. They are sterilizing and they are removing the genitals of mentally ill people. It's the same thing the Nazis did to make sure they don't reproduce. It's literally verbatim exactly what happened under the Reich. So on that person's page, there was nothing on there indicating that you're a man. But here they are on the internet. Oh, look at your friend. But it's not just my friend. It was like a bunch of other guys too that slid into their DMs. How the fuck are these men supposed to know? They won't. And these men never came nowhere near you in person, but you're gloating about it. Imagine you accidentally speak to a man that you think is a woman. Then you become famous. You get drafted. This is America. Depending on what you do on Monday, you can live in a completely different world Friday. All of a sudden, you have notoriety. Then everybody comes out of the woodwork. Ex-girlfriends, ex-fiancés, people that used to know you. Then you got somebody who you slid in their DMs on accident or you walked up to in a bar and spoke to and bought a drink unknowingly for a man dressed as a woman. That's why men take this so personal and why they're so triggered, because you're literally you're basically risking my livelihood by conning me. You're scamming me. You're tricking me. Now, you can't say that if you disclose this to a man up front. This individual is so mentally inept that they don't even realize that they're rolling the dice with this life that God gave them. They're literally just throwing it on the table willy-nilly every single day, unnecessarily. Huge risk to the point where you're even thinking, I don't even know when. What do you mean you don't know when? Instantly. You should wear it on a shirt if you can. Put it on your purse or whatever the fuck. But you should tell people immediately, not for their safety, but for yours. This is a dangerous game. You're playing for your life. Every single game. You're not wagering money. You're wagering your next breath. You have to be considerate of that if you care about your own life. But again, what did I say? Typically, they're already on the edge and suicidal anyway. You know, that's that. So why would they care? So when you wonder, when you're thinking maybe they don't care, they probably don't. You know?
In that moment, like before somebody starts talking to me, no matter who it is, where I am I supposed to be like, hey, by the way, before you speak any further at all, I'm trans. Nice.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. You know what's crazy? This actually happened to me once. I was leaving this bar that I go to. This is back in LA a few years ago. I'm leaving this bar that I always frequented called the Association. And I meet this chick wearing a tight dress. I'm thinking it's a girl. Hair done nice, similar to this person, where you can't tell anything. The surgeries they had were so good. They've taken so many hormones for so many years. I had a party at my house, and it had sent me a 3-page text. I don't read long texts from girls. I just don't. I read the first 2 sentences, and then when I realize there's nothing important, I just kind of ignore the rest. I invited it over. It came to my house. I had a party with other girls there. Even the girls were fooled. Women, other women. Other women can usually tell. The women were fooled. We're all drinking. It's probably 6 in the morning. It falls asleep at my house. We're sleeping in the same house. Nothing happened or anything. It was sort of like a friendship thing. And I'm not really a good platonic friend. So I'm like, damn, I didn't even want to talk to this person. I didn't want to make a move. Nothing. It was just just kind of like a friendship thing, which was cool with me. I'm not even really the platonic friend type of guy. Anyway, the next day, a week later, I think it hit me up and I was like, oh yeah, we're going to go out tomorrow. And it kept saying something weird. It kept saying, oh, I want to go here and there, but I'm a goddess. I got to go to this place first. And I was like, and it said it like 3 fucking times in the text. And I was like, why do you keep saying you're a goddess? Like, what does that mean? And literally in a text, it's like, I told you. I'm like, you told me what? And you're like, that I was trans. I'm blown away. I said, get the fuck out of here. You're joking with me. He was like, nah, I told you in the text. I said, get the fuck out of here, bro. I go back through our text history, right? And I type the word trans in to search because there's no way I'm still not reading all that shit. Lo and behold, in the first paragraph on the 3rd page of text, it just barely mentioned it and kept going. It kind of buried it in the text. And I'm like, so technically it can say it did disclose that to me. And I guess it's my fault for not reading all that bullshit. It should have been in the first fucking line, the first sentence, or it should have been when we shook hands and first met each other. I mean, I was embarrassed, but I was like, this thing went through a lot of trouble to trick me and whoever else. And I'll be honest, there is no long-term future for people who are that crazy. And now I'm thinking about it. That's why nothing happened, because I'm a lot bigger than this dude. If something would have happened and I would have noticed and found out that this was a man, what if it would have went left for them? And some of these people, yeah, they might be suicidal, but they're not retarded. They're not stupid. So it made sure it slept on my couch. It made sure wasn't no flirting or anything like that. It seems like it just wanted to be around other women to see if it could trick everybody there. And it did. Me not being in that lifestyle, I don't understand how that could be a flex or something for you to be proud of or how you can get off on that. But it's different strokes for different folks, I guess. This is an extremely dangerous game, and you can literally take the nicest guy, smartest guy. You do this to him, and you can literally it'll turn on his animal instinct, and he would just go crazy. And typically, they don't survive. It happens every single day. There's a lot of men in prison because they did something to one of these people who tricked them. Oh, let's just do oral. I'm on my cycle. No, you're not. You don't have one. But they're lying to men. Men find out after it's a dude, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I gotta wipe him. I gotta hit the delete button. I can't go out like that. I can't live with that on my conscience, knowing I did some gay shit, even if it was on accident. There's no way we're gonna be able to. I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night. I'm not gonna be able to look at my kids. I'm not gonna be proud of myself in front of my wife in the future. There's no way I'm going to be able to function knowing I did some gay stuff, whether it was my fault or not. You see a lot of kids, you see a lot of men, a lot of kids that grow up to be men. They were abused when they were teenagers or when they were little kids, and they grow up and they're confused, and eventually they just break down and they off themselves. Famously, what was it? The DJ for Ellen DeGeneres, maybe a year or two ago, that was in his past. And even though he had a wife and kids, it consumed him, and he ended up just killing himself. Men cannot live with that. That's a mental trauma. Your sexuality and your manhood is important to you. Don't ever let anybody try to convince you that it's not or downplay it. You know who you are. If somebody scams you or tricks you, that's not going to be a good enough excuse. You can't take back certain things. Some dude sucking your dick, you can't take that back. You sucking somebody else's dick, you can't take that back. That's why people say for girls, yeah, girls can be guy, but girls can be bi. Men can't be bi. You're gay. Even if you like women still, you're still gay. That's how it works. You can't just make new definitions. That's not gonna fly.
Meet you. No, I'm not gonna fucking do that. First of all, that makes it awkward for me and awkward for you. And it's just I don't know, take some hints. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So we're literally talking. He's literally end of the night, asking me to go home with him. And I'm looking at my friends, they're you should do it. And I'm okay, but
someone told you that knows you're a man dressed as a woman, that you should go home with a man that's 6'8", probably 300 pounds. You're thinking it's a good idea and it's safe for a man pretending to be a woman, and he doesn't know. They suggested that you go home, but this person hates you. This person is not your friend. This person can't stand you. Or you're lying about this person even existed and you were just out by yourself and you were making these decisions on your own, but you're just trying to blame another person, because I don't think a friend would be that reckless with your life. I mean, because the sense of guilt they would have to feel if something happens to you, or just the anxiety of knowing you're in this deadly situation, and they're probably scared to call you the next day because what if you don't fucking answer? Then they're going to know that they have something to do with that. They lined you up, is what we would say.
I don't know. I just feel awkward. Maybe I'll get your Instagram and then we can hook up later. Not hook up later, but hook up later, or go on a date or something. So I get his Instagram. He literally is begging. I left, and then he's DMing me. He's oh my God, I can't believe you didn't come with me. Da 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 da. And then I get home 20 minutes later, and I text him and I was just hey, what's up? And he texts me back. He's LOL, fuck you. I thought you were a chick. Okay. I'm more woman than,
You're more woman than nothing. You're less woman than a lamp. You're less of a woman than a man. You're not a woman. You'll never be a woman. Being a woman is more than just your outward appearance. It's your ability where, for the most part, unless pending age or some kind of injury, you can give birth. You can lactate. You're a woman. You're a human female. You were born a human female. It's not what you identify as. It's about what you were born as. There are rare exceptions where there are kids born hermaphrodites with two genders. They have a vagina and they have a penis. It's extremely rare, but apparently they say that due to toxins in our environment and in our water and in our food, you're starting to see it increase. But that's not what this person. This person is not a hermaphrodite. It has both sex organs. You're either going to have an XY chromosome or you're going to have an XX. It doesn't matter what type of sex organs you express. A blood test to do. And then also, the reason also these people self-delete by 34 is because the younger you are, depending on your racial background, the easier it'll be for you to pass for the opposite gender. It typically goes one way. I've seen women that went into to look like a man. They get the surgeries. They grow a beard. Very convincing sometimes, but you still have no dick. And there's no way to get around that. What they'll do is they'll slice the skin off of your inner thigh, and they kind of roll it up like a hot dog, and then they try to attack. Like it's a horrible. Like if you knew. And that's why I go so hard when it comes to the bullshit about doing the gender affirmation surgery to children who are not even old enough to consent. They can't drive a car. They can't smoke cigarettes. They can't vote. They can't even legally work. But you're telling me at 8 years old, you think that they can tell you that they want to change their gender? Are you fucking insane? Now, a mentally ill adult, you can't stop them. My issue is never with what adults are choosing to do. It's when they try to do it to kids. The way it works with these people, if the waters are muddy enough, you won't be prosecuted. Meaning, if you're a 50-year-old man, but you say, I feel like I'm 10 years old and that's what I identify as, and there's a 10-year-old kid who you've convinced them that they're actually 30, and you get caught with them, and they also say that they're gay and you're gay, it's really hard to prosecute, especially if you're in a liberal jurisdiction, because you will have to affirm what they identify as. That's the fucked up part about this whole situation. That's why I tell people you can't affirm the nonsense. Love, when you hear language like love is love, that's pedophile language. Because that means that gender has no boundaries, neither does time. And if time has no boundaries, then what is age? Well, age is just a man-made construct. If gender is a man-made construct, right? See, it all boils down to access to children. Now, in this situation, this man pretending to be a woman, they get off on tricking other men. They don't seem like they haven't mentioned anything about going after kids, but they typically do because you're a woman, but you're still a man. You're going to want something that's weaker than you and smaller than you eventually. So they do target kids. And that's where people like myself, conservatives, Republicans, whatever, this is where we draw the line. Eventually, there will be a war in this country, and it will be fought over children. Those who wish to harm children versus those who wish to protect them. And you're all going to have to pick a side. You're going to have to pick a side. Would you prefer are you going to be on the side of white supremacy, or are you going to be on the side of the pedophiles? Is how they're going. If you're on the left, that's how they're going to give you those two options. And you're going to be surprised how many people are going to choose to side with pedophiles because they're so obsessed with race that they hate white people so much that they'll side with the pedophiles. even though the pedophiles are white themselves, they don't understand that once you're in the LGBTQ, you're no longer a part of any racial group. That's its own race itself. Black, white, LGBTQ, brown, yellow. That's its own separate race. People don't understand that. I try to explain it to them because it seems like when these stories come out, everyone's so confused about what's happening. So I do my best to try to break things down in the simplest form so it's easier to understand, digest, process. So that's why we're here. This is a scary story because it just doesn't seem to have any self-awareness. But it hasn't jumped off a cliff or walked into oncoming traffic when the light is red and they just walk down to the road. So it has a little bit of some self-preservation, but it's dancing and gambling where it's considering doing something to get itself hurt. And that's the sad part. And there are people who are literally encouraging this behavior and they want children to do the same. And that's my problem.
You'll probably ever get in your life, first of all. Second of all, calm the fuck down. Like, you don't have to be rude. Like, I get it's not your fucking thing. Like, obviously I was gonna tell him if it was gonna get any further, but like, LOL, fuck you. I thought you were a chick. You
got off lucky. You were lucky, that's what he said. I bet you the next day, when he was sober, he considered probably breaking a bone on your body. If he would have had a choice or knew where you, I'll be honest, if he sees you again and he's sober and he's not in the best mood, you're going to have to fight. And remember, sir, you're still a man. So when you guys are arrested for fighting, it's not domestic violence and it's not a man beating a woman. It's going to be two men that are fighting. You are going to be put in a men's cell. You're going to be processed as a man. All of your makeup, all of your eyelashes, the lip shit, the ear, all that stuff's not, it's going to be stripped away from you. The jails are not doing this whole, we're going to put you a women just because you chopped off your wiener. That's not happening no more. Thank God for Donald Trump. You're going to be in the male population, but don't forget you're still a man. So you're not going to be able to call the police. It's two men got into a fight. We're in mutual combat. You lied to this man and you tried to trick him and you tried to scam him. And this is attempted sexual assault if you think about it. If he doesn't know what you're doing and he doesn't consent to it, that's sexual assault on your behalf, sir. So what you're saying admittedly on camera is that you're considering whether you should sexually assault men or not. Because I don't know if I'm going to tell you that I'm trans until later and then I get you into a sexual situation and then you find out. Well, now you just assaulted this person against their will. And you're considering whether you should do it or not. How fucking idiotic are you? Again, if this person had friends that were with them at that place, at these bars, they don't really give a piece. They don't give two shits about you. They want to see somebody crash out on you.
I have no more faith in any men ever, and I think I'm done. So, what the fuck? I really don't know what I'm supposed to do in that situation. But then I get attacked. Okay. Thank God I didn't go home with him because I would probably be dead.
This person started this off by saying, I don't know when to tell somebody. And then, because I didn't watch the whole video until now. But then at the end of the video, they're saying, they admit that they know that they would have got themselves killed. And it just shows you how mentally depraved and how suicidal these people are, which is why you should not listen to them. You shouldn't take advice from them. I don't understand why we humor them when it's time to vote. These are people that have nothing invested in our country's future. So why are they invested in politics? They're not going to be here for much longer. They have no children. The future is of no consequence to them. And think about it. If they only were around each other in their own communities, they wouldn't even see the need to do this because what are you going to do, fool another trans person? They don't care to do that. They care to fool straight people. They care to embarrass straight men and entrap them. Every day people suggest, why don't trans athletes just start their own league and play against each other? No, That's too much competition. They want to play against women. Why don't trans people just date each other? No, trans women want to trick men. Again, this is a whole community that's where they're doing something that serves no real purpose, but really just to trick and harm others and get others into situations.
I'm going to preface this by saying I always, always, always tell anyone I'm like hooking up with or dating or anything that I'm trans.
Yeah, you know, this person, they say they always do this. They always tell people, but what they're doing is they're considering not telling him because once I tell a man and he knows, he doesn't want to fuck with me anymore. So you want people who don't want to mess with you to still mess with you and find out later. You're already basically lining yourself up to get hurt. So someone in this mental state should be institutionalized. They need counseling because they're suicidal. And it's kind of like somebody that's what they do suicide by cop. You're suicidal, so you take out a fake gun and you run towards the police with a knife. You want them to kill you. When someone's like in this mental state, they want to be killed. So they're going to go trick and con a man, hoping that he does it for them. Because some people are just too chicken shit to off themselves. You know, jumping off a building, taking all the pills, shooting themselves. It's too brutal. So they want someone else to do it. So that's why they'll trick you and lie to you and manipulate you. And they're hoping that's going to happen. And that's the part why I said these people need help. They don't need you to affirm them. They don't need you to say, "Oh, you're so pretty. They need you to. They're going to need counseling. They need help. If not, they're not going to live past 34. I do hope this person gets help. You know, the men that it tricks into thinking it's a woman that find out later, they need mental help too. They're going to need counseling too, because it's not going to be something you just get over, especially if you're a man that is going to have kids and a wife one day. This will be an extremely embarrassing stain on your history. If you agree or disagree, leave me a comment. I'll go ahead. I got another couple of videos we got to do tonight, and then I'll be on someone else's live. I'll send out an alert. We have some other topics to talk about, mainly political stuff. So if you're going to be around, leave me a comment, follow, subscribe, whichever platform you're watching me on. These are conversations you have to have them. They have to be had because there's more and more of these walking around every day. I was in LA a year ago, and out of 10 women that passed by, 7 of them were these. And basically the county jail, once they give you all these drugs and stuff, now they feel like you're no longer. They change they basically feminize you. They think you're no longer a threat to society. They kick you out. But you're never going to have kids, and you're just a man who looks like a woman, and they know what the end result is. You self-delete. So there's a lot of these running around right now. Not as convincing as this one, but you know, this is we're running into a really bad mental health crisis. We're already in it. Eventually, separation is the only option. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back shortly with another video. Like and subscribe to see what the next topic is. There's 2 videos right here. Click one, both by me.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.